Don't look now, but the once lowly Cincinnati Bengals have crept up on the competition. After several seasons of traveling on a treadmill, the Bengals are slowly but surely making strides toward contention under the determined guidance of Forrest Gregg. Last week, the Bengals faced a stiff challenge to their newfound resolve in the form of the Pittsburgh Steelers, winners of 4 straight. But Ken Anderson helped meet that challenge by passing for nearly 350 yards. Anderson threw for a pair of scores, including one to Pete Johnson, number 46. To many, the Bengals' surprising transformation from doormat to dynamo has a mystical quality, a feeling supported in this contest by receivers who continually displayed a magic touch. Bengals compiled 494 yards in total offense, the most the Steelers squad has relinquished during Chuck Noll's 13-year tenure as head coach. A 73-yard touchdown by rookie David Verser, number 81, wrapped up a 34-7 victory that gave Cincinnati sole possession of first place in the AFC Central. And the Bengals are not the only once woeful team that's hot. The San Francisco 49ers have also come in from the cold. A Milwaukee chill raised a few goosebumps on coach Bill Walsh, as did a ball control offense that demonstrated some peculiar methods of controlling the ball. The host Packers retaliated with their own unorthodox receiving methods. But in this contest, the difference was defense, as quarterbacks were grasped more firmly than the passes they threw. Lawrence Pillars, number 65, registered 3 of San Francisco's 4 sacks. Late in the fourth quarter, Green Bay was finally stopped cold by the 49ers' new-look big play secondary. An interception by number 22, Dwight Hicks, preserved a 13-3 victory and capped the 6th straight quarter in which San Francisco's defense has not permitted the touchdown. Being a 49er has now become something that can be pointed to with pride. And the proud young 49ers stand alone at the top of the NFC West. There was plenty of pride at stake in an AFC West battle that found Kansas City squaring off against the division-leading Broncos. Led by number 53, Whitney Paul, the Chiefs' defense wreaked havoc upon Denver. Paul produced 2 of Kansas City's 6 sacks. The Broncos were rattled into committing 5 turnovers, and the omnipresent Mr. Paul capitalized on one of them for a 47-yard touchdown. To counter a Chiefs squad that includes 10 rookies, Denver called on football's father time, Craig Morton. And Morton called on veteran Rick Upchurch, number 80, who jumped at the chance to thwart the Chiefs' defense. Morton enjoyed his best game of the season by passing for 342 yards and a pair of scores to number 81, Steve Watson. But ultimately, the fireworks generated by Morton and Watson were not enough to offset the Chiefs' own offensive explosion. Big plays were turned in by Henry Marshall, number 89, and rookie Joe Delaney, number 37. whose 82-yard touchdown secured a 28-14 victory that gave the Chiefs a share of the division lead. The Chiefs, like the 49ers and Bengals, now boast a 5-2 record. And while it's still a little too early to determine if these surprising teams have really arrived, one thing appears certain. All three are off the treadmill, off and running toward respectability. The division's seller of the AFC Central is an unfamiliar vantage point for the Cleveland Browns. And last week, with the help of number 45 Jack Holmes, New Orleans halfback George Rogers attempted to make Cleveland's focus on first place that much fuzzier. Rogers rushed for over 100 yards for the second consecutive week, and this 79-yard touchdown run set a new Saints record. The danger in playing a 1-5 team like New Orleans is they will try anything at any time to win. Number 30 Wayne Wilson's touchdown run on a fake field goal attempt helped provide the Saints with a 17-13 lead. However, Cleveland overcame New Orleans' unpredictability with 2 field goals and a pair of Mike Pruitt touchdown runs. The Browns' 20-17 win did not lift them from the division basement, but they're now on the top step where the sun shines a little brighter. In Miami, the bright sunlight seemed to have a blinding effect on the Dolphins. Against the Redskins, another 1-5 team, Miami's problem was not their inability to foresee the unexpected. It was their inability to simply see each other. When quarterback David Woodley did clear the Dolphins' vision, it was quickly blurred again by the Redskin defense. Finally, it was the Miami defense, which, like a newborn infant, opened its eyes for good and crawled right to its bottle. The defense sparked the Dolphin offense as Woodley completed 15 of 28 passes for nearly 300 yards. This fourth quarter pass to Joe Rose, number 80, set up the game-winning field goal in Miami's 13-10 victory. The win kept the Dolphins on top in the AFC East and banished Washington to the lonely confines of last place in the NFC Eastern Division. In New York, Joe Plecco and the rambunctious Jets have burst out from the bottom of their division and, despite their enthusiasm, did not lose their heads against the Buffalo Bills. The Jets, anxious to avenge a humiliating 31-0 loss to the Bills in the first game of the season, wasted little time displaying their intentions. Number 42, Bruce Harper's touchdown typified the Jets' explosive offensive performance. Another look at the run shows that Harper's path was opened by the block of number 35, Mike Augustiniak. New York showed little respect for the AFC's number 2 ranked defense by gaining more total yards against Buffalo than any team this season. That included a Richard Todd touchdown pass to Jerome Barkham, number 83. However, quarterback Joe Ferguson willfully earned the Bills a measure of self-esteem. Ferguson, the NFL's third leading passer behind Craig Morton and Dan Fouts, threw for over 240 yards and 2 scores. Late in the third period, Ferguson's touchdown pass to number 80, Jerry Butler, tightened the game at 20-14. But the Jets were not about to let another win slip away. And moments later, when Mike Augustiniak fumbled, Bobby Jones, number 89, alertly scooped up the loose football and went 61 yards for the game-clinching touchdown. New York's 33-14 win boosted their record to 3 wins, 3 losses, 1 tie. After beginning 1981 with 3 straight losses, the Jets, who sometimes appear to be right out of the cast of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, are making a bid for the top spot in the AFC East. As a year of mind-boggling surprises, 1981 is a season destined for Ripley's Believe It or Not. There you will find the year's most unusual stories, like the Baltimore Colts, who won on opening day, then forgot how to play. For each of the past 5 weeks, the Colts have been losers because of poor execution. One example has been the inability of Colt receivers to break free on patterns, which in turn has allowed opponents like number 76, Keith Ferguson, to get a second crack at Burt Jones. As a rookie defensive lineman, Ferguson has been counted on to fill the void left by Fred Dean. Ferguson found a second lapse in the Colt offense when a scrambling Burt Jones failed to protect the ball. Seemingly, Baltimore has forgotten football fundamentals, but the Chargers still remember how to roll up the points, as number 25, John Cappelletti, was one of 4 Charger running backs to score on the day. This balanced attack, combined with a 298-yard and 3-touchdown performance by quarterback Dan Fouts, led the Chargers to an easy 43-14 thrashing of the Colts. The win pushed San Diego's record to 5-2 and a share of first place in the AFC West, a position where the Chargers seem as formidable as an Earl Campbell run. Surprisingly, New England's worst-rated rushing defense held Campbell to under 100 yards, while the pass-conscious Patriots recorded their second 240-yard rushing performance in 3 weeks, led by the guile of quarterback Steve Grogan and the elusive power of Mosi Tatupu, number 30. Despite Tatupu's effort, the key to New England's afternoon was the gambling play calling of Coach Ron Earhart, as running back Andy Johnson threw his 3rd touchdown of the season and helped clinch a 38-10 victory. After a slow start, the Patriots scoring machine has begun to explode, unlike the Raiders, whose offense has been hatching nothing but silver and black goose eggs. After the Raiders were shut out for a 3rd consecutive game, a desperate cry for points resounded throughout the Bay Area. Luckily, the Raiders' special teams listened. By scoring a safety along with 2 field goals and a touchdown, the Raiders basked in a long-awaited rush of point euphoria. And by taking a 15-0 lead, it was their turn to put the shutout whammy on someone else. Such an incentive encouraged Raider All-Pros like number 37, Lester Hayes, to dig in and foil the Buccaneers' long ball schemes. Despite a touchdown-saving deflection, quarterback Doug Williams sensed a weakness in Hayes' coverage and once again tested Hayes along the sideline. Number 89, Kevin House's 73-yard touchdown marked the longest completion in Tampa Bay history. Williams went on to pick apart the Raiders' secondary for 310 second-half yards, including a quick touchdown toss to tight end Jimmy Giles, number 88. With 5 minutes remaining, the Buccaneers forged into a 16-15 lead, only to be countered by a lengthy Raider drive, which was culminated by a 44-yard Chris Barr field goal attempt. Neither Barr nor holder Bob Chandler ever doubted the kick for a minute. Barr's kick put the Raiders into an 18-16 lead, which held up when Bill Capice's deflected attempt with 8 seconds remaining fell inches short of the crossbar. The win boosted the Raiders to a 3-4 record and within 2 games of the AFC West leaders. The Minnesota Vikings are like a long-running Broadway play. The cast of characters has changed, but the show is still playing to favorable reviews. The leading role these days belongs to quarterback Tommy Kramer, whose skillful direction has been the decisive factor in 5 straight Viking victories. Last Sunday, working against the NFL's stingiest defense, Kramer threw 4 touchdown passes for the 2nd time in as many weeks. For the first time all season, the Philadelphia Eagles appeared overmatched, this despite several virtuoso offensive performances. Outstanding plays like this one by running back Wilbert Montgomery are why the Eagles were undefeated when they arrived in Minnesota. But a passing touch like this is why the Vikings were able to bring the curtain down on the Eagles' 6-game winning streak. Minnesota's 35-23 win over the defending NFC champions was hailed as an upset. But to those who've watched Bud Grant carefully recast this production over the past few seasons, it was a chance to pass along a warning to those who may have missed the Vikings show. Another surprising act from the NFC is that of the New York Giants, who last week rolled into the Seattle Kingdome where they scared the dickens out of Jack Patera and the struggling Seahawks. Even on bad days, Seattle's sprint-out attack usually manages to score a few points. Last week, they were shut out by a Giant defense that's now allowed the fewest points in football. Offensively, the Giants weren't exciting, but they were effective. 2 short yardage touchdowns and a half-dozen Joe Danello field goals accounted for all the scoring in last week's most lopsided win. One of last week's highest scores was registered in Atlanta, where the Falcons road tested all their various scoring vehicles. Against the Cardinals, Alfred Jenkins caught 2 of Steve Bartkowski's 4 touchdown passes. The Falcons' longest touchdown run was Lynn Cain's 33-yarder in period 2. But the Falcons' longest overall scoring play was a 70-yard pass and carry connection orchestrated by Bartkowski and fullback William Andrews. After 3 straight defeats, the Falcons desperately needed a win to keep pace with San Francisco in the NFC West. The size of Atlanta's win should do wonders for their morale. Another team that needed to win last Sunday was the Dallas Cowboys. Coming off rare back-to-back defeats, Dallas hosted the Rams at Texas Stadium, hoping to narrow the gap between themselves and the division-leading Eagles. But the Cowboys' secondary once again threatened to let them down. Drew Hill's 43-yard reception exposed Dallas's one glaring weakness. Fortunately for Dallas, all other parts of the Cowboy machine were in working order. Doomsday was relentless in its pursuit of Pat Haden, dumping him 4 times, once for a safety. Tony Dorsett padded his NFC rushing lead with his 4th 100-yard game of the season. Big plays take the fight out of an opponent, and Dallas made several, the most damaging coming in period 2, when Danny White nailed Tony Hill on a sideline pattern. When 2 Ram defenders overran the play, Hill took off on an uncontested 63-yard touchdown. The loss drops the Rams into a second-place tie with the Falcons. The win moves the Cowboys to within a game of the Eagles. Final score, Cowboys 29, Rams 17.